Good morning. Today we're working on a 2007 Jeep Wrangler with a 3.8 liter V6. This had a P0303 code, and we did a compression check. We checked the plugs, we checked the plug wire, we checked the coil, and all that seems to be good. So we are going to change the fuel injector. That's what we believe is the culprit. So we are going to remove the upper plenum, intake plenum, which we're going to remove these hoses. We got to remove the EGR pipe, which is this right here. We got to unbolt these bolts that hold the plenum in place, and we're going to lift the plenum up and out the car so we can get access to the fuel rail, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this air boot off. So flathead screwdriver, loosen the clamp, flathead screwdriver, and loosen that clamp. All right, and we're going to unplug the intake air temperature sensor and pull that little red tab back and push and pull. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take that off of there. You want to be careful because sometimes these boots are hard and they can crack while you're trying to do that. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug the throttle body, and it looks like it must have broken at one time. Somebody glued it with silicone in place, so we're going to have to use a razor blade and cut that silicone, so we'll be right back. Okay, now we got that unplugged. Everything in the front seems to be clear, so we're going to go ahead and take this hose off. I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers. You can use a regular pair of pliers. I just didn't have any with me right now, so we're going to go ahead and squeeze that clamp, pull it up, and then we're going to use the pliers again to kind of wiggle the hose and pull it up, just like that. All right, so this hose is kind of difficult and hard, but we're going to go ahead and pull it off the other end too there. And that's the same thing as squeeze clamp. So we'll use a pair of pliers, squeeze it, and pull it up and out of there. All right, so we got that out of there. We're gonna go ahead and remove this one, and then the EGR pipe. This one should just pull off, and we can kind of set that out of the way. Okay, now we're gonna use an 8mm. We're gonna take those two bolts out and see if this flexes out of the way. If it doesn't, I'm gonna have to go to the other end, but I think it'll flex out of the way. Okay, so the EGR pipe did not flex up and out, so we're gonna take those two little bolts right there where the glare is off, and that pipe should come straight out of there. And yeah, so we'll take those out and go from there. Okay, there's a little bracket right here that holds the EGR pipe in place while you can tighten the bolts on the pipe on either end. So we're gonna take that bracket off, and the pipe should come right out. Just take this nut. That much. Just do it by hand. Okay, before we can get that bracket off, we have to disconnect the fuel line. So that's what we're doing. We got our special tool in there, and that's made by OEM. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that in there, pull the fuel line, which it's already popped in, so the fuel line should just pull out. Let's see what happens. Okay, we got all that disconnected. We're going to disconnect that. Okay, so we unplugged the map sensor, which is there. Just push and pull. And then there's a hose in the back here. We're going to take off. And then we should just have to remove all the 10mm bolts from here. Right? All the way around. There's one there. All right. Next one back. I'm going to loosen them all first. And then I will take them all out. One back there, all right, and then a fourth one back. And I'm just using a 1/4 inch ratchet These things are very light. You don't need to, when you put it back on, you don't need to tighten it too tight. It's plastic, you know, no more than like 10 Nm, you know, 7 or 8 foot-pounds probably. All right. That one I might have to go a little shorter with the extension here. Okay, we got all 8 bolts out and everything's disconnected, so we should be able to just pick this up. See? And it should slide right up and out, just like that. Now we have all the wiring exposed and the injector, so we're gonna go ahead and check all the wiring, check all the plugs, and then replace the one injector and then put everything back together. Okay, it looks like all the wiring is correct here. So what we're gonna do is unbolt the fuel rail, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. All right, unbolt those, and then we'll just pop the fuel rail up little by little so the O-rings don't ruin themselves, and then we'll go from there. Just a reminder that the firing order cylinder identification, just a cylinder identification. This is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. This is number 5, and that's number 6. So on the right side, left side, driver's side, it's 246. On the passenger side or right side of the motor is 135. And we're gonna change this injector since it's number 3. Okay, so unbolt the bolts and go from there. Okay, looks like on this particular model, someone changed number 1 and number 2 already. 3, 4, 5, and 6 look like they're original. So we're gonna replace number 3 only, and that's this one right here. So we already unplugged the electrical. On this particular model, I'm not gonna take the fuel rail completely out. So we just unplugged the electrical on that one. I'm gonna pop off this clip just with a little flathead screwdriver on the bottom here. And then that should pull this retaining clip off. Okay, now that I have the injector back in, the new injector, and the fuel rail is mounted in, we are gonna go ahead and mount the plenum back. So we set it back in place. We start all the bolts first before we tighten any of them. And then the tightening sequence is gonna be like a crisscross from the center out. So we're gonna start here, then we're gonna go 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 here, and then back corner over there, and then back corner over there, and then up front here. And then we're gonna do that same pattern again, just enough to be about maybe 8 foot-pounds. Go from there. Okay, now that we got the plenum back on and bolted down, we're gonna go ahead and don't forget to put your breather hose in the back here on, and your map sensor, make sure that's on all the way twisted and plugged in. And now we're gonna put the EGR pipe back on. So we'll go from there. All right, we have put everything back together. Don't forget to plug all the hoses in and all the electrical, your intake air temperature sensor, your throttle body down at the bottom there, the PCV hose, your evap purge hose there, your vacuum hose in the back, or your brake booster there, and the map sensor. Just make sure everything is connected. Now we're running the engine and everything seems to be okay, no more misfire. So the injector was definitely the culprit. I hope you learned something. Have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.